You're listening to the Minutemen, Arizona's independent political talk show.
Yo, what's up? You're listening to 107.3 The Minutemen. I am your host, the conservative Tip Rob, with the dark Frenchman Steve. Yo. And the ever-popular Squid.
Howdy, howdy, howdy.
We got a great show for you here today, but first, big shout out to TC, AZSA, Chris McClick, the Mockingjay, the man, and my main man Desmond, and a very special shout out to Indivisible Southern Arizona. Hey, thanks for following, guys, and being great listeners.
Yes, guys, thank you for listening to us.
Alright, so let's get started with today's show. First off, I want to start off with the shooting that took place today. As I have said many times, I don't condone violence of any level on this program, but this, I was saying from the moment I heard about this morning, this should be where hyper-partisan politics end and where compromise and healing begins. Because, you know, right after the shooting, I don't know if you guys heard this, there was a lot of left versus right dialogue going around. Whether, this guy was killed by a Democrat, because I don't know if you guys heard, this guy was a Bernie supporter. Bernie supporter, yeah.
Bernie volunteer. He said, he was a Democrat. He shot a Republican.
But that's exactly, thank you for bringing that up, and that's why I'm getting into this. If you're sitting there going, yep, the Democrats, it's the Democrats, you're exactly the problem. It's not about left or right now. It's not. That was a horrible tragedy. And I think whoever is playing that off for party points
is terrible.
You're a terrible person. Because, you know, this whole concept, it stems down to gun control, mental health, and lack of voice. Now, and I also want to put out there for my listeners, who's the guy who got shot? I'm sorry, I know his name's Steve, but how do you say his last name? It's Steve what?
I forget it.
Yeah,
he has a very odd...
Scalise? Yeah, Steve Scalise.
Yeah.
One of the interesting things about Steve Scalise, I actually found out during my research when I was looking into the guy who got shot, was he was actually a guy who was a big fan of David Duke.
Really?
Yes, he actually has been quoted on saying, "I'm like David Duke without the baggage." Wow. And he said that when he was giving a speech to a bunch of white nationalists. So calm down, all you Republicans out there who are like, this is the Dems attacking the Republicans. Okay, so you're defending a guy who was giving a speech to a white nationalist party,
right? White supremacist.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But that's my whole point, though, guys. I mean, let's talk about the whole gun control. I mean, that is a Republican issue, right?
It is.
Gun control is a Republican issue,
very, very big
and
issue.
I believe it was Democrats that wanted to make a little bit more control, make it harder for people with mental issues to get guns. And what did the Republicans just do this year? Oh, that's right. They rolled back the legislation on guns, so mentally challenged people can get guns. And I'm not talking about Down syndrome. I'm talking about people who have schizophrenia.
Yeah.
I'm talking about people who really shouldn't own a weapon. But no, that's what they got.
Yeah.
But you're not going to hear those issues from them. You're not going to hear the issue of gun control. You're not going to hear the issue of mental health. And what I mean about the voice, there are some people in this country right now that feel like they don't have a voice. And when they see someone like Steve Scalise, a guy who's supposedly giving speeches to white nationalists and white supremacists, that makes people very angry, and they feel like that's the only thing they have to do. Now, while I am not condoning or defending this man in any way, I'm simply saying calm down, all you Republicans out there that are trying to say this is about left versus right. Because it's not about left versus right.
You're putting it into a wrong perspective. I mean, this is just one of, 3 shootings that we've had. Here's another case of mental health, pretty much, in a sense. The mass, I don't know if you guys saw the mass shootings that happened, the 2 of the 3, with the UPS facility. One of the workers came back and shot up.
Yeah, I did see that.
So that was
kind of postal.
Yeah, postal. So that was another mental issue that we had, and obviously the mass shooting in Virginia. So that there's 3 things going on.
And I'm not trying to downplay the tragedy, but I love the fact of how we've had
come out of the woodworks.
Well, not just that, Steve, but how these people, like our president, came out and did his public statement about this.
Right.
Where was he during the Quebec and the mosque burning? Where was he there? Where was he during a lot of the other domestic terrorist attacks we have? That guy who stabbed a bunch of people in Portland said it was for free speech. Where was he there?
Nowhere to be seen.
Yes,
still nowhere.
When this is an attack on a party, he's there.
He's coming running, and he's
still calling the Democrats obstructionists. This is what is creating these situations. This is actually what's creating the divide, is when people are out there saying, oh yes, this is the left won't let it go. The left are a bunch of Nazis. Okay. Yet gun control, mental health, and lack of giving people voices, that's a Republican problem. I hate to say it, that is a Republican problem.
Well, you're calling it down the line. You're putting the land, the line in the sand pretty much at where it is. That's what they want to do. When these public service announcements come out and the president gets involved and it's a mass shooting or it's something that's massively went down with the United States, it's always the Republicans pointing the fingers. I'm not just saying them. It's the Democrats as well. But this is why there's no like what's the word I'm trying to say? There's no form coming with them. I mean, the first instincts is to point the finger.
Yeah.
It's not saying like
your party.
It's not
you're the obstruction.
Was this guy mentally ill? What was going on with the guy? Why did he do it? Most people's first question, their first answer is, "Oh my God,
what you don't understand, Steve,
oh my God, Bernie
what you don't understand, Steve, is you're a Democrat and you hate Republicans and you hate freedom. Idiot.
Oh,
you hate freedom, Steve.
Go ahead and throw Bernie in there. That's just the icing on the top of the cake.
You socialist. You commie."
You guys did see that Bernie Sanders basically condemned this guy for what he did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, but that's not enough, though. That's not enough for them.
It's not enough for the Republicans.
No, the deed is done in their eyes. I mean,
this is left versus right now.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Now all they see is red. No,
and we've been saying this forever. This is exactly what we've been saying with the hyper-partisan my party versus your party politics.
Right.
The football mentality.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
coming into play.
Sad. Yeah, this is a prime example. Yet you feel it's okay to assault reporters and body slam reporters. Right.
I mean, you defend that saying, well, this guy, he had no right coming up on him like that. Of course he would have body slammed him, really?
And this senator or this congressman had no right to say, I'm like David Duke without the baggage. And, sorry, this guy got upset about it. Not defending it, we're just saying.
Just saying.
And, actually, I found something really interesting.
Really?
1789, there have been more than 20 attacks on senators and House representatives.
I know one of those is Giffords.
Yes. I pulled up 4 names that are kind of like, that were up towards the front a little bit. Gabby Giffords was the first, and she was the latest one. Now, Leo Ryan, he was actually killed, and he was overseas with a couple of other 4 people, and the other woman that was with them was Jackie Spear. And then, of course, Robert F. Kennedy.
I know another one has to be the guy who went to Jonestown. Remember that, Steve?
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
yes.
the congressman. I don't know his name. I don't know if anyone wants to look that up. But yeah, I remember that was another congressman. That was the first congressman I think killed on foreign soil or whatever.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on here. So we got a little secret to tell some of you listeners out there. We were actually recruited by the Trump administration. Yeah, surprising. Donald Trump actually wanted us to be his new media outlet. So we sat down in his new cabinet meeting with all the new cabinet members he has appointed, and let's just say it didn't go good for the Minutemen. I mean, we gave him the praise he wanted to, but
all we had.
Let's take a listen to that. Let's see if you guys can find our praises.
Due to a record-long delay in confirmation and the confirmation process by the Senate Democrats, which I call the obstructionists. Maybe they'll change, but I doubt it for a while. But they are truly obstructionists. This is our first cabinet meeting with the entire cabinet present. The confirmation process has been record-setting long, and I mean record-setting long, with some of the finest people in our country being delayed and delayed and delayed. We have a phenomenal team of people, a great group of talent. I will say that never has there been a president, with few exceptions, who's passed more legislation, who's done more things than what we've done. And I'll maybe start with Mike, and we'll just go around and you name your position, and then we'll ask these folks to go back and have a good day, and we're going to discuss our various reports. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. President, and just the greatest privilege of my life. is to serve as vice president to a president who's keeping his word to the American people and assembling a team that's bringing real change, real prosperity, real strength, and back to our nation.
Mr. President, it's great to be here and celebrate this group. We are receiving, as you know, I'm not sure the rest of you fully understand the support with law enforcement all over America.
Thank you, Mr. President, for letting me be here today. It's truly an honor. You are a great and tremendous man with big, gigantic hands. I just wanted to tell you that you can have me whenever you wish, and you can drink the blood of my child whenever you wish.
I want to thank you for
okay,
your commitment to the American workers.
President, honored to be on the team. This last week I had the great privilege to represent America at China at the Green Energy Ministerial. Good timing. They needed to hear why America was stepping away from the Paris Accord, and they did. My hat's off to you for taking that stand and for sending a clear message around the world that America is going to continue to lead in the area of energy.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, President, for answering my question, and thank you for your contribution to the black community and your LPGT. You've just been a pillar of just hope and light for us all, and crazy look.
It's a new day at the United Nations. You know, we now have a very strong voice. People know what the United States is for, they know what we're against, and they see us leading across the board.
With your direction, we were able to also focus on the forgotten man and woman who are the folks who are paying those taxes. So I appreciate your support and your direction in pulling that budget together.
President, what an incredible honor it is to lead the Department of Health and Human Services at this pivotal time under your leadership. I can't thank you enough for the privilege that you've given me and the leadership that you've shown.
Thank you, Mr. President, for letting me outside my tank today. It's a great honor to be roaming around free with all of you. I do know that immigration is a really hard thing with me right now, and kind of hoping that sooner or later my immigration status goes through.
Thank you for the honor to serve the country. It's a great privilege you've given me. Clearly,
okay. Now, clearly, that was a joke for most. But that was actually mostly organic. We just kind of added little bits and pieces there for your guys' entertainment.
What are you talking about? We were there.
Who talks like that? Who acts like that? Remember when we used to have good president speeches, and all that used to be on the news was President Obama gave a speech today, and we're going to break that down. And they usually broke down Obama's speech and what he meant. Right. Now we're sitting here watching how all the cabinet members have to basically kiss the president's ass. Pretty much.
Hey, thank you. And then mumble while they do it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Nothing bad about them.
No, they clearly do. I mean, let me just. There's a few things in there that really bothered me. First of all, Rick Perry, when he said, "Thank you for Mr. President for standing up and pulling out of the Paris Climate Accord and putting America first in energy." Call Rick. Call. We just had a bunch of reports that came out about how the coal industry is dying. Not to mention of how the Trump administration was lying about all the coal jobs that they were going to create. But hey, you know, I guess we're leading the way in energy.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the coal. Power in the industry, America first.
I love Nikki Haley when she was just like, "It's a new day at the UN." She's like, "It's a new day," you know, because it's like, yeah, every single country is laughing at us right now.
They are.
Can you feel a brand new day?
Do you think she's going to start breaking out?
I feel like they all were. They were all like just melatonin.
They were just going to start breaking out into a musical.
Straight flash mob.
Radigan. The Radigan. The world.
There's a rat. A Radigan. Oh my God. The Radigan.
If they started singing that, I think I would have died on the floor laughing.
They should just put a musical together for him.
Right.
They should.
It seemed like they were a total flash mob. It seemed, but you're right though.
Mr. Trump,
like that.
You are the greatest man who's ever lived. You are the greatest man who's ever been.
Oh my God. The West Side Story.
Oh God. You know that show is... all Republicans would go see that, and they would throw flowers on this stage. It's the greatest thing ever.
But let's break this down though too. Like we were saying, who talks like that, man? But not to mention, I want to say this. Could you imagine if that was Hillary or Obama doing that? They would say, and you know it'd be about race. I'm not trying to bring
the first.
I'm not trying. I'm just saying it would be about race. They would say, "Look at this black man, making all the white men praise him because he's president." You know that's what the conversation would be. And you know it'd be, "Look at this woman, making everybody be submissive towards her."
Yeah,
you know that's what it would be.
Typical woman attitude.
Making everybody praise her, have to tell her she's pretty. Tell me I'm pretty. Tell me I'm pretty. Tell me I'm pretty.
That's fun, man.
Yeah, that's really.
You're like a Silence of the Lambs moment, dude.
Hey, don't make me play out Goodbye Home, guys. Yeah,
but you're right though. Why did they act like that? It was like they came right off the service line.
Well, there's been plenty of reports of how Donald Trump has to have like not only pictures, but he has to have reports that praise him in the reports themselves.
Jeez, do you think they like rattle like keys behind the desk to get his attention?
Actually, they do something like that for his tweets. I heard they had to do a lot of things to get him to not tweet during the James Comey testimony.
Oh, really? Apparently, yeah, he's been silent.
Awkwardly silent.
Well, you know what surprised me was he didn't tweet during Jeff Sessions' testimony at all.
Yeah, speaking of Jeff Sessions, we're going to get into that real quick. So I actually covered that the other day for those of you who follow me on Twitter. And let me just say it was pretty interesting from start to finish. Jeff Sessions couldn't really recall anything. He just basically stonewalled the whole committee, and we're going to play that clip for you now.
Let me state this clearly, colleagues. I have never met with or had any conversation with any Russians or any foreign officials concerning any type of interference with any campaign or election in the United States. And the suggestion that I participated in any collusion, that I was aware of any collusion with the Russian government to hurt this country, which I have served with honor for 35 years, or to undermine the integrity of our democratic process is an appalling and detestable lie.
Did you ever have a conversation as a superior of Director Comey with his failure to perform or some of these accusations that he wasn't running the FBI in a good way or that somehow the FBI is in turmoil? Did you have any conversations with Director Comey about those subjects?
I did not.
Did you ever discuss Director Comey's FBI handling of the Russia investigations with the President or anyone else?
Senator Feinstein, that would call for a communication between the Attorney General and the President, and I'm not able to comment on that.
You are not able to answer the question here, whether you ever discussed that with him?
That's correct.
You discussed his termination. Why wouldn't you discuss the reasons?
Well, those were put in writing and sent to the President, and he made those public, so he made that public.
Do you know if the President records conversations in the Oval Office or anywhere in the White House?
I do not.
Let me ask you this. If, in fact, any President was to record conversations in their official duties in the White House or the like, would there be an obligation to preserve those records?
I don't know, Senator Rubio. Probably so.
I believe the American people have had it with stonewalling. Americans don't want to hear that answers to relevant questions are privileged and off limits, or that they can't be provided in public, or that it would be, quote, inappropriate for witnesses to tell us what they know.
Senator Wyden, I am not stonewalling.
Respectfully, you're not answering the question.
Well, what is the question?
The question is, Mr. Comey said that there were matters with respect to the recusal that were problematic and he couldn't talk about them. What are they?
Why don't you tell me? There are none, Senator Wyden. There are none. I can tell you that for absolute certainty.
Why do you believe that your recommendation to fire Director Comey was not inconsistent with your March 2nd recusal.
I'm the Attorney General of the United States. It's my responsibility to our Judiciary Committee and other committees to ensure that that department is run properly. I have to make difficult decisions, and I do not believe that it is a sound position to say that if you're recused for a single case, you can't make a decision about the leadership in that agency.
Man, if only Comey had blown Trump, then the Republicans would be all over the impeachment process, wouldn't they? I don't know about you guys. I thought it was going to be more like this.
So, if there's someone to point the finger at, it would be his brother. Oh my God! Oh my God! Nobody look! Nobody look! Nobody look! Nobody look! Nobody look!
I was hoping for more of that in that whole testimony. I mean, what did you guys think about that?
Dude, number one, Comey sounds like my grandfather, man. He sounds like an old Southern.
You mean Sessions?
Yeah. Now, Rob, I've heard a time or two that I did not have any type of like. Seriously, why? It's just ridiculous. He was like going for an Oscar. Like,
in one of his testimonies, I love in one of his testimonies too, how he says he had an encounter with the Russians.
Yeah.
See, Jeff Sessions has encounters with Russians, much like you have encounters with aliens, for instance. There's missing time. There's foggy memory. So I suggest we get Mr. Sessions some regressive hypnotherapy so he can remember.
Guys were watching X-Files before he came in there.
But I'm serious. That's how Jeff Sessions wants to treat it.
I just love how you got angrily at, he's getting all angry, and I was just like, dude,
There are none, Senator. There are none.
Well, like some of the highlights of this, and I actually wrote them down, was Jeff Sessions' most go-to line was what Rob said. I do not recall
anything.
Well, let me look back in the top of my old noodle here. I can recall a time or two, about 15 years ago. It was about 1964. That was my ex-wife's birthday. I had 2 chicken fingers and an old biscuit. And that was going on. Like, that guy is hilarious. Yeah, seriously, but really, this guy...
Dude, well, okay. What were you going to say, Squid?
The other things was the Republicans. The Republicans during that hearing were running interference. They were always praising him. And Republican,
like Tom Cotton. Yeah.
I actually wrote down his what he said.
Go ahead, Squid. Yeah, because let me before you throw in. Yeah, Tom Cotton, for some odd reason, right in the middle of the whole committee, was talking about just blurting out something about Obama.
Yeah, that was weird.
I was like, God, someone is either extremely obsessive or extremely racist about somebody else.
I'm aware of the racist part. I don't think so. All right, so what he said was he was accusing them of tumbling down lots of other rabbit holes. And his biggest thing that he said, have you ever in any of these fantastical situations heard of a plot line so ridiculous that a sitting U.S. senator and an ambassador of a foreign government colluded in an open setting to pull off the greatest caper in the history of espionage?
I don't know, Senator Tom Cotton. Did you ever think an actor an actor could ever walk into a theater and openly assassinate the president? That was Lincoln. Did you ever think one man supposedly was able to kill John F. Kennedy? Among all the Secret Service? Let's talk about Robert F. Kennedy. Can you imagine a story where a guy gets shot right as he's walking through the back? Oh, yeah, there are crazy situations. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Cotton. Did you not realize, could you imagine a situation where a guy goes to a Republican baseball game and starts shooting the congressman? Yeah, things do happen out of the realm of norm.
People are not all, they're not all there.
No.
And usually if you put a firearm in their hands and they're upset.
Well, the problem is Tom Cotton's been watching too much of these spy movies.
Oh my God, too many James Bond films.
That's exactly the problem.
Yeah, he watches James Bond.
But let's get into the serious matter. I mean, realistically, all Jeff Sessions to me, that whole testimony just proves that there's just way more than there's more questions than answers.
Right.
Well, I actually found 2 unasked questions they didn't do during the whole entire hearing.
Go ahead.
Did Sessions ever offer a resign due to Trump's dissatisfaction
that's right, yeah.
of his job performance?
They didn't go into that.
He was also not asked whether he did anything at all after Comey expressed discomfort in his interactions with the president. And there's one more. And there were no questions whether Sessions relayed Comey's concerns to anyone, such as other justice officials or the White House counsel. I mean,
I think what was some of the most damning evidence that was presented in that whole thing was one of them. I loved when they asked him, and he pretty much stuttered and stopped the whole time. They said, "Have you ever read any intel reports about the Russian interference?" And he was like, "No, I can't say that I have." It's like, yeah, because you knew what was going on.
Yeah.
That's why, because you knew what was going on.
Right, and you're totally, Rob, I totally agree.
I'm sorry. I really do. When I hear that stuff, I'm like, yeah, because you know what's going on. You know more. That's why you didn't read it, because any sitting person would do that. That's why it's so hard. I don't understand how Republicans defend this stuff so much. Even if that was the case, he should read it. Even if it wasn't true, he should read these reports. He's the Attorney General.
Nah, Rob, that's not true. I can recall, like I said, a time or two back in my old head. Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and. What were you gonna say, Squid?
Well, I was about to say, like, how you're saying that the Democrats actually rattled him so much he stuttered and just couldn't come up with a thought to come up with it. And that's when he would always go, I do not recall
that particular situation.
Yeah. It's you're totally right, Rob. You've said this, and it's just the guy. It leaves more questions than answers.
You know, it really does. And when it comes to the whole Russia investigation, I love how the Republicans thought, oh, Comey's testimony proved that that Donald Trump is vindicated. It didn't prove anything. It just proved that he obstructed justice. All Jeff Sessions' testimony did, and I love how they jumped on it like, Sessions came off tough. He came off tough. It didn't prove anything. It didn't help your situation at all. I don't know why people are jumping over it like, oh, this totally vindicated the president.
Right, like it's an achievement.
All it showed was honestly, I'll just say it made him look way more guilty.
It did.
I thought it made him look guilty.
I mean, he lied under oath.
I think he did lie under oath, personally. He said he had no encounters with the Russians. And then in Comey's testimony, he said that there's a reason Jeff Sessions would have to recuse himself because him being involved in a Russian investigation would be problematic. So there's something way more to that story. Jeff Sessions is probably not telling the truth. I highly doubt he is. I mean...
Yeah.
Tom Cotton talks about a spy movie. This is a bad movie.
Yeah.
This is a bad spy movie, Tom Cotton. Can you imagine a worse movie, Tom Cotton? I can't. It's watching the country, especially the Republican Party, dance around this guy who they all put their eggs in one basket, and they know if he goes down, we all go down.
Yeah.
And that's what it really is. It's not about right and wrong, obstruction of justice. Yeah. It's not about that to you. It's about keeping your power.
Keeping your power, yeah.
Keeping your power the way it is. That's all they care about. If
they have to look like a fool on television, they're willing to do it.
Yeah. They're
willing to do that.
Yeah, they're willing to make themselves out like fools to do that.
But you just said it, Rob. It's like it's making them look more guilty than anything.
I think it makes them look more guilty, especially I love the part when Sessions was like, I'm invoking executive order. By the president. It's like, but the president hasn't invoked executive order. He's like, but he might later. It's like, but he's not, so you have no grounds to do it. Right. But he might later. It's like, so you're being selective about it. See, that was just plain, I don't understand how they even defended it.
Yeah.
It's plain stonewalling. He's either not telling the truth, or he's just trying to distract. And I personally think they are just trying to run out the clock so they can repeal Obamacare and get all this money transferred over to the wealthiest, which are their donors, of course. Because as we know right now, as we speak, the Republicans are trying to repeal Obamacare secretly. They're holding the bill in secret. They're editing it. They're not letting the Democrats see it.
Right.
And they want to talk about the Democrats being the obstructionist party. Remember when it was Obamacare and they let the Republicans read the bill?
Yep.
This is what I'm talking about. This is hyper-partisan politics At its worst.
At its
At its worst.
At its
At its
worst.
finest, if you want to say it, but it's truly at its worst.
This is, yeah.
I mean, Squid, what do you think about this? I mean, do you really think that this can continue on the way it's going? I mean, I really think. I mean, I have said myself too. I hate when people talk about civil wars and they emphasize, "Oh, we need another civil war." The kind of stuff that's happening right now will bring about that kind of stuff if you do not stop dividing between parties. When Donald Trump gets up there and says, "I like to call the Democrats the obstructionist party," that does no good.
That is a wedge.
Well, I'm going to jump in right there. I mean, I'm going to agree with you there. It's a wedge. Donald Trump he's pushing that wedge in between the Democrats and Republicans. I mean, he's asking for unity and all this, but he's not doing anything to bring the Democrats together with the Republicans and work together. If we can get both to work together, I mean, yes, we can do something about it.
All right, we're going to be right back, guys, with our first break. I think you'll like this. This is all it is.
Break music, nice.
But check it out. This is the beat. That's all it is. For like 2 minutes.
I like it.
Okay. We're gonna get into McSally.
Yeah, McSally, and then
Marijuana.
Marijuana?
Yeah. What else did I say we gotta cover today? What was that?
We already did. Yeah, those are the last two, right?
Yep.
So which one you want to tackle first?
I want to do the McSally one.
Yeah,
That was we gotta go through because I think you would have talked at length with this weed, right?
Yeah. Hold on. I want to get these clips here. Going whenever.
Alright, welcome back, guys, to the Minutemen. An interesting topic that we have. Rob has a special announcement.
Yes. Eminem, Double D. No, these are not rappers we're talking about. These are Arizona politicians. And Martha McSally, ooh, is she in big trouble here today. So, Representative McSally was giving a speech to some Arizona bankers. And, this story actually comes to us from the Tucson Daily, and was the recordings are done by Indivisible Southern Arizona, so thank you guys. But let's go ahead and get into the beef of this article. So what exactly was McSally doing, Steve?
Well, what she's basically a Republican. She's openly been out there supporting Donald Trump, but it seems like behind closed doors, when no one's listening, she seems to have a bit of concerns about Donald Trump. Tucson Weekly has obtained a leaked recording of McSally meeting with Arizona Bankers Association, in which she has said that President Donald Trump's tweet.
Hold on, Steve. Let's let Martha say it. Yes, she's absolutely right. She is going to go down in 2018. And for those of you who don't know who our opponent is, Charlie Burden is actually the man running against Martha McSally to take over her seat. Squid, did you have some stuff on Charlie Burden here for us today?
Yes, I pulled up his work history. He is the owner of Fun Gamer. He has worked for GameStop as a senior advisor for there, and he went to college in Nebraska. Kind of like about that.
Interesting.
And he's going up, like how we said, against Martha McSally in a swing district of District 2.
So you those Republicans out there, if you don't like what she exactly said, might want to consider voting for the Democrat, although you probably won't. So the other thing about McSally, one of the things she'd like to say, and I love, we're actually looking at some of these clips from Indivisible, Arizona, is, this is my favorite one, actually. She likes to say that she is actually the Republican punching bag of the party. You don't believe me? McSally, take it away. Yes, you are the punching bag. Jeez. And if you guys don't know who McSally is, she was the congresswoman who voted. She wanted actually Congress to not get a whole to get the ACA for themselves.
Yeah.
And then she went ahead and voted for the ACHA, or the American Health Care Act, which is even worse than, you know. I can't tell you. It's just a terrible piece of legislation, as we all know.
Yeah.
So, you know, some other things she was saying. She was talking about Dodd-Frank and how we should be getting rid of Dodd-Frank. She went on to say this.
You know, within the public, there is often a perception, right, that we had the financial meltdown, and then Dodd-Frank was good, and it was, you know, saving us from future financial meltdown. You guys are all experts in the industry. You know that's not true, right?
Yes, because the bankers are the experts in the industry. Duh, McSally. You really think that... Okay, McSally, do you know when Dodd-Frank was put in? It was put in after the financial meltdown. It was. Do you know what was in place before the financial meltdown? Nothing. Nothing. There's hardly any regulations on Wall Street as there is. That is one of the very few things that protects us. But no, she's like, you know, let's just go back to, you know, when a bank is too big to fail, we gotta bail them out. Taxpayer money to banks all day long.
Yeah.
All day long.
Old person thinking.
Yeah, really. I love it too. How she, you know, this is almost like a Hillary Clinton thing, isn't it, guys? I mean, she's sitting here and having private meetings with bankers, talking about how she has a personal position, and then a private position, and then a political position. So some of you people out there might want to listen to what she's saying at the next town hall, because she doesn't seem to be you know, holding her guns too well.
Right. Well, she's basically said verbatim. I quote, "It's basically being taken out on me."
Oh yeah.
I mean,
really?
Oh yeah. She hates being a politician. Let's take it from her.
Political theater, but I don't read life into it, and I don't enjoy it. You know, just to be frank with you, it actually drains me more than it. So some people get like jazzed by all that, but for me, it's just like sucks the life out of me.
So it sucks the life out of her to be your representative.
Wow.
Did I hear that correctly? I believe I heard that, you guys. I heard that it sucks the life out of her to be a representative for Arizona. Then why is she in office, guys?
I mean, she just said, and
she just said she wants to quit.
Yeah. And then she's just like, I have an R next to my name, but you know, this is just this job.
For the distinguishing of it, just the grandeur of it. I mean, it's all the glitz and glamour that come with it.
Well, then, you know, but then she's complaining about liberal activists being completely tying her together with Trump. I mean, it's just really, really weird, her behavior right now. And yeah. Like Rob said, why are you even there? Why are you in office if you don't enjoy it and this is your career? Why are you there?
Then get out and step aside.
Yeah, step aside. Give it to somebody else who's going to, you know, do something better.
Like Charlie Burden, and that is why we are bringing him up and bringing his name into the limelight now, is because we actually have invited him on this show, and we are hoping he's going to come and sit with the Minutemen soon, so we look forward to that. But, like we said, Representative Martha McSally, she doesn't like her job. She doesn't like healthcare.
And she doesn't like you.
And she doesn't like you. So, moving on. Marijuana. Alright, that is going to be the main topic for today's show, is marijuana. The big devil's lettuce.
Mini weed, Steve.
The reefer madness. The green skin.
The salad.
The Reggie.
The devil's lettuce is one of them.
Yeah, I said the devil's lettuce.
Like, oh my god.
Oregano.
Yeah, you're dumb. Are you smoking the chronic?
The exotic. The stress.
The stress, yeah.
Okay, so the reason we're bringing up marijuana on today's show is because this is become such a huge thing in Arizona. I mean, we sat down with Steve Wicker and Jennifer Pollack. We had a debate about marijuana with them. Jennifer Pollack, for instance, is on the opposite side of the fence with us on this one. But we're going to go ahead and break it down for everybody a little bit today on marijuana. So, here we go. So, marijuana. Marijuana has been, it's been a big debate here in the state whether to be legalized or not legalized. You know, I hear a lot of Republicans out there saying it shouldn't be legalized, which is funny because many of them call themselves constitutionalists, yet they say, you know, you can't smoke pot, but cigarettes and alcohol are okay, which doesn't make sense coming from a constitutionalist. So let's debunk some of these. Let's ask some of the big questions here, and we're gonna ask. So, is marijuana addictive? So let's start with that. Now, according to a study in 1990, marijuana has a 9% addiction. So the number of cannabis users who become dependent, according to the study from 1990s, this would still put marijuana dependence risk comfortably below alcohol at 14% and tobacco at 24%. According to the same study, additionally, the 9 figures was likely inflated because the study did not account for marijuana criminalization. So that is, this is actually from the book Marijuana. This was the book. This is where the study's from. It was a study done about marijuana in the 1990s. So there's one here. So it's 9% addictive. So and people want to say, oh, well, why is it on the list for addictive substances? It's right on there with coffee, actually. I don't know if you know that. Yeah, it's right up there with coffee. Wow. Caffeine is another killer. Caffeine actually, I think, kills more people than marijuana does.
And caffeine's more susceptible to children than marijuana because it's in a lot of substances. Like what? Sodas. Now they have kid beverages. I don't know if you guys know. Now they're making coffee accessible for children. What?
Yeah.
It's more. They're giving it out.
Good God.
So that's one myth about marijuana. Is it addictive? Well, if you count the 9% of the millions of people that probably smoke pot, then yeah, I guess that seems like a significant number. God, you know, and that is one myth that I hear so much about people. The other thing is, if marijuana is so addictive, please, Squid, if you can, pull up any numbers of how many people get admitted into rehab for marijuana use. Let's go ahead and pull that number up here.
The laughable number.
I bet it is a laughable number, and we're going to get into some more subjects too. So, drunk driving. Stone driving. Now, here's another myth about marijuana we've been hearing, is that if marijuana is legalized, it is going to cause way more accidents on the road. Well, drunk driving kills about 28 people a day in America. I'm pretty sure that is far less than marijuana. Studies have found not one familiar results for driving while high, and it's not even clear that marijuana even increases the number of traffic accidents. That's not to say that marijuana doesn't affect driving ability, but for many people it does, however. Marijuana use is as likely as anything to make people more cautious than usual. So in the studies that they have done on marijuana uses in people driving, they found that people driving under the influence of marijuana tend to be more cautious drivers, as opposed to the people that are killing 28 people a day, drunk driving. Not to mention, Steve, remember when I said we had a huge problem with people driving on the wrong way of the highways? Most of that is contributed to drunk driving, not pot. Yep, not pot. So I think that is, I think that's really hilarious. Another myth I hear too is, why should we legalize marijuana? You know, because it won't do anything to stop crime. Actually, it would. When California started legalizing pot, it curbed the cartel problem immensely. Why do you think heroin is such a problem right now? Because not only is it the big pharma's pushing it on people, but it's also the cartel's new source of income. They're pushing more methamphetamines. They're pushing more opioids across the border now.
And it's becoming more of a risk to them now.
I think it's funny, too, when you hear a lot about the other modern nations that have more than just marijuana legalized. They have heroin. I'm talking about Sweden and Portugal. They don't have as much crime. They don't have any crime as much we do. The police don't carry guns there. But, you know, I think that's absolutely hilarious how people think that the legalization of marijuana would not hurt the cartels. You know who wants marijuana to stay illegal? The cartels! The cartels and the drug dealers. Drug dealers have said all the time on every documentary, you can ask them, I don't want marijuana legalized. I couldn't compete with some government-making manufactured joints. So what are you trying to say? You know, there's just so much myth going on when it comes to the subject. And I love too. They say another one is pot smokers lack motivation. That's another one. Oh, if we allow pot to get everywhere, it's gonna be people are gonna be lazy.
Bunch of lazy buttheads sitting on the couch, not doing anything.
There's really no conclusive study to ever conclude that. I mean, yeah, there are lazy stoners, but there are also lazy smokers. There are also lazy alcoholics that sit around on their porch all day doing nothing but drinking booze.
Yeah, and there's a lot of CEOs who do both.
Yeah,
do marijuana and drinking more heavily than they smoke marijuana.
Yeah. So another reason people say that pot should be illegal is because they think it causes lung cancer.
What?
Okay, yes. This is one is a 2012 study on marijuana's effect of lungs came up with this conclusion: occasional and low sorry, I can't even say that word. Cumulative marijuana use was not associated with adverse effects of pulmonary function. Sorry, I can't say that word. So that's not to say smoking marijuana has no adverse effects. The crucial difference may be one of quantity. All but the heaviest pot smokers don't average more than a couple of joints or bowls a day, whereas a pack-to-pack person smoking cigarettes is way more susceptible to cancer. So, you got that, Squid? How many people are admitted to rehab for marijuana? Let's see here.
All right, in this is a huge number by what I saw. It's only 287,933 admissions to drug treatment reflected on marijuana as the drug of choice.
But I bet you in that study they don't even tell you how many of those people were required by law to go. Yeah, because most people, when they are caught with marijuana, are required to go by law. You either have to go to task, or you have to go to a rehab center like that. Or you get DES coming if you have children. A DES, sorry. What is CBS?
Yeah.
Sorry. Child Protective Service. But yeah, that's not even a lot of the millions of people that smoke pot that got admitted to rehab. But like I said, most of the times, those are people that are required to go.
Right.
Just like when I don't know if many people know this. If you throw your cell phone at your spouse in front of the cops, that is considered assault. And you must attend anger management. Same principle.
Surprising.
Let's see. What's another good marijuana myth here, guys? Oh, marijuana is a gateway drug.
One's been going back forever.
I have made this argument so much. I made this to Jennifer Pollack. I made this to Steve Wickard. When you keep marijuana in prohibition, when you make marijuana illegal, you are not deciding when your kids get to try pot. You're deciding for the drug dealers to decide when your kids get to smoke pot. I mean, let's say, for instance, your son, your daughter, 19, whatever, is going out, she smokes pot. She's going to drug dealers. She's not going to a dispensary. She's going to different pot dealers.
Yeah.
Well, hey, maybe one day that dealer doesn't have any pot, but he has something stronger. He has an opioid, or he has, heroin, same thing,
right.
Or crack, or methamphetamine. And, he's deciding on what your child gets, not her. Because he's like, hey, I don't have weed, but I got something that's a little better.
I got a little kick.
I got something a little better,
but this is better.
So you're actually allowing your children to be more susceptible to pot.
Yeah,
and to other drugs by keeping pot illegal. Let's talk about some of the other myths that I love here. Well, not a myth, but more or less like just kind of a more ridiculous side. This idea of when that marijuana, we can't use marijuana for anything good. Like, we talked about when we asked Jennifer Pollack about the taxation bill for the, what was it called, Squid? The marijuana legalization bill of Arizona?
It was the Safer Arizona Cannabis Legalization Act.
When we talked to her about that, we said, what if taxation for marijuana went to schools? She said that would be counterproductive. I actually disagree, and I wanted to bring this point across, but I didn't. So if you believe in the Paris Climate Accord and you believe that CO2 emissions, being that they are dangerous, should be taxed for better things, do you not tax cigarettes either because they are harmful to people and you put it towards better things?
Right.
Why can't we tax marijuana for better things? You're basically choosing. You're being selective about what you're choosing to allow funding for. You're saying it's okay to allow funding to the school for CO2 emissions, for cigarettes, but not for marijuana.
Yeah.
And if alcohol dedicated half its money to education, would you be okay with that, or would you just say no to that too? I'm not attacking Jennifer. I'm just simply saying.
Right. But, just these are radical stories in the sense that you're saying.
It's party politics.
It's party politics, but you know as well as I do, Rob, with party politics, it's an all or nothing attitude. And that's what it is. It's like, if I can't maintain the flow of this, then no one should have it.
I just, I think it's really sad.
Beneficial things aside, though.
Well, I'm not even joking. I see a lot of Republicans out here in this state that smoke pot but think we should be illegal.
Yeah.
Like, that is like, you know how...
Looking up like, you guys are just the scum of society, get a job.
Yeah, get a job. But I'm allowed to smoke pot, but you can. I think if you think, honestly, those who smoke pot and think it should be illegal, don't smoke pot. Please don't.
Why are you doing it?
Why are you doing it?
Why?
If you think don't do it. It's addictive. It's addictive.
Hey, guess what? Don't even drink alcohol, too.
Don't even drink alcohol.
That's another, quote-unquote, gateway drug.
You're wrong, Steve. I've literally heard this argument. Well, I don't think alcohol's that bad. I don't think alcohol's an addictive substance, but I think marijuana is an addictive substance.
So is alcohol poisoning just a myth? Because I never really heard of anything called marijuana poisoning.
Right.
Or you can ingest marijuana.
Or even alcohol abuse.
Yeah, I know, right?
There's why are more people admitted to rehab
for alcohol? Alcohol is the #1 reason in America why people go to rehab over any type of drugs, even heroin.
People think that alcoholism is not a serious thing. People lose their lives over alcohol. People sell their houses. People may not be on the street corners acting like hookers getting their fix, but people ruin their lives over alcohol.
That sounds a little, Rob, that's fishy attitude. That sounds a little bit like it's a drug.
Right? Yeah. It almost sounds like I'm talking about addiction. Because another thing, too, that I hear a lot, too, is what's funny, too, about the 9% that they say is addictive, not all addiction is bad. Some of those people that are addicted off the pot actually need it. They're addicted because they need it, because it helps them.
They're in severe chronic pain.
Yeah.
That is, or they have an afflicting injury that they cannot help.
Yeah.
And medical marijuana is helping them, but they're frowned upon. You know what? You're just using that as an excuse. If you were really hurt, go to the doctor.
Let's move into a little bit of another subject, and I want to talk about the outside sources that fund and run the campaigns against marijuana. Like, we talked about this a little bit on the show. You can go back. We talked about how a lot of the outside groups in Colorado came into our state to help push back against the marijuana legislation, which I think is funny when outside companies come in, like they don't have some alternative motive for, pushing back against marijuana. You know why? Synthetic drugs. They want to legalize more synthetic drugs. They don't want you to smoke pot. They want you to smoke their synthetic drugs. There's all these, like the company that you can look this up. All my listeners, if you want, you can look this up. Look at the same company that makes fentanyl. They are trying to make a synthetic marijuana right now. It is a company that is in Arizona. I don't have it in front of me right now, but they are a legitimate company that's trying to sell you synthetic marijuana. And don't we all know what happened with spice and bath salts? When you do synthetic drugs, you might as well just go do the real thing.
Yeah,
that's
I'm not joking. I hate to say that, but
you're being honest. With people smoking spice and doing bath salts, that sent like hundreds and thousands of people to hospitals. I mean, in London, they're still dealing with spice. Like some of these kids, they're acting like zombies. They're hunched over.
Like Flocka?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're just flopped over. They're not moving at all. It's affecting them over there. Spice is bad.
Yeah.
Well, all of it's really bad, but I would say more on the fact that you have, okay, so you would rather have your children go out of their way to find some type of fix that's not marijuana, and they're on bath salts, and some type of spice, but then but what about this medical synthetic marijuana? Are you really?
It's just synthetic marijuana.
But here's the thing: are you really willing to risk that? At that point, just like you said, just smoke the real thing.
Just smoke the real thing.
You're really gonna take something that might have addictive natures in it, so they can give the excuse? Because listen, he smoked this synthetic marijuana, and this is supposed to be good for them, and he's hooked on heroin.
Steve, you act like there's ever been some kind of company, Big Tobacco, that has ever made a claim that it wasn't about the cigarettes; it was about the nicotine and the addictive properties that it has in it.
Thus, we have the vaping era.
Yeah.
Oh, vaping's good.
Still the same principle.
It's the same thing.
I just find it really funny those who, like we said, this is a very passionate. If you can't tell, this is a very passionate subject here on the Minutemen of.
You know what? Let me just go out and let me go out on record right now and say that.
Oh, Steve is
me. I am a non-smoker. I am a non-drinker. And what I mean by smoking, I mean I do not smoke nicotine and I do not smoke marijuana. I don't smoke anything, and I do not drink alcohol. These two would attest to that. I don't do that at all, and I haven't for pretty much all my life.
He's our double deucing, our DD.
Yeah, and but you could just tell though, I am pretty passionate about this because it's dumb. It's one of these dumb arguments that people fall into.
Yeah, it is, and they fall into it through party lines. They really do, and I really. That's what I can't stand. That's what I mean by Republicans that smoke weed and say, "Oh, it should be illegal," but you're smoking weed. You know why? Because Sean Hannity said it. That's why. Because Bill O'Reilly said it. That's why. Because my party doesn't like it. That's why. But I'm gonna smoke weed. But I'm gonna say I'm a constitutionalist. Yeah, I don't think you should be allowed to smoke pot, but drinking and alcohol—that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. The two worst, more addictive substances—that's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
more than weed.
Yeah, you know what? Why don't you go back in time and ask the families from the 50s about how alcoholism affected their families?
Yeah, and why it was actually legalized. Oh wait, I remember. That's because a lot of women said that husbands were coming home beating them, and that's why alcohol should be illegal.
Yeah,
that sounds like a worse situation than weed.
Oh, and you know what's weird about that? Their children that grew up in the 50s, they grew up They were in the 80s as an adult. And what was the big drug on the 80s? Can anybody put that there? Oh, that would be cocaine.
Cocaine.
So skipping marijuana and going into the drug that was supposed to be non-addictive at the time.
Yeah, that's why I should say that, Steve. And let's move into why it was even illegalized. Many people, if you don't know this, now you do. The reason weed was even illegalized is because Richard Nixon wanted to make it illegal so he could come down on the blacks and hippies. Yep. So they would stop protesting him. That is the whole reason the drug war exists.
And then the Reaganomics.
It's all a war on, and I'm not race baiting. I'm serious. It is a war on race. It is a war for money. It is. We're not even going to get into all the CIA black operation projects protecting the poppy fields and helping further the opioid addiction in America. But yet they want to make pot illegal.
But Rob, what about those public service announcements? The drug-free, the way to be.
Oh my God! Yeah,
the DARE program. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, guys, drug-free.
Yeah, even though those DARE programs came under a lot of scrutiny for a lot of backdoor things they were doing themselves. Right. And let's talk about those public service announcements. Like, I love those commercials where I've said it before, it's the one where the woman's driving down the street and she sees a marijuana shop everywhere, and then her son walks out of a cannabis store and her daughter's like, "Oh my God, look at the cupcakes, Mommy!" So you're saying it'd be no different than alcohol today? Is that what you're saying? That's because you can clearly associate that with a drive-through liquor store in the corner.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no different than alcohol.
Tons of commercials with those people saying, "Protect your kids, get a car insurance," and what are those car insurance commercials about? Alcoholism.
But let me just go ahead and try to reach out to some Republicans today and just say, I don't understand why you guys want to say that weed should be illegal, because isn't that our American right? You think smoking cigarettes is your American right to do? Drinking alcohol is your American right to do. Why? Because you're allowed to put that in your body, right, without having the government tell you what to do. Then why can't people put weed in their body? That's right. You're only using your party politics when it's selective and convenient for you. America! It just, it doesn't make sense. Marijuana became the #1 cash crop outselling corn in California. It was helping boost up California's economy.
Amazing.
Still is.
Yeah, still is.
And they think it's like Reaganomics. It's like we have seen these things put in place, and we've seen the experiment done, and we've seen the results. Yet you want to keep going back to what doesn't work, or keep going back to what doesn't make sense. You can't keep. You gotta realize that if it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense. Then there's probably something wrong. There's probably a reason they're pushing it if it doesn't make sense. You can't sit there all the time and be like, well, I'm a Republican. Republicans say marijuana should be illegal, so I think it should be illegal. And that goes for you Democrats, too. I'm sorry to say, but shame on you who say you're a Democrat and are against the legalization of pot. I think you're a silly person. I hate to say that, but you're a silly person if you think that pot should be illegal. It should be taxed the same as weed, the same as cigarettes, the same as alcohol. We should put it towards education. We should put it towards infrastructure. We should put it towards everything that the current administration is trying to cut. You want to save the parks? Put the funding for marijuana towards it. You want to save healthcare? We can put marijuana towards healthcare. Marijuana towards education. I don't even think I've even gone into the medical reasons for the medical purposes of marijuana. How CBD oil actually helps kids with seizures. We haven't even crossed that into the medical part of it, and we are right now. Medical marijuana is being frowned upon in America right now. Not only that, but it's being stopped. It's being pushed back, and now we have China investing millions of dollars into CBD oil research. China. We just let China become the superpower of the world by backing out of the Paris Climate Accord, and now we're going to let China get ahead of us in marijuana medical research. They are putting millions of dollars towards CBD oil research. And if you're like, well, what's CBD, Rob? What's CBD oil? CBD is actually found in marijuana along with THC. And in fact, that's CBD is how counteracts the THC, so you actually don't get that high. Many people don't know that. So many people think when you talk about THC and CBD, you're talking about the same thing. You're not, actually. There was also another point I wanted to get in. I'm sorry I forgot about this. I'm jumping back on a subject. Another thing I heard, too, is another myth about marijuana releases endorphins in your brains. Yeah. Did you guys hear about that? So that's why it's addictive. I heard it. So, Did you know how much endorphins marijuana releases in your brain?
I do not.
No. You guys would like to know the same amount as when you go for a jog.
Really?
Oh my goodness. So yes. So when you go for a jog and you get those endorphins released, that jog high you're talking about, that running high, you might be doing something illegal. Letting all those endorphins off in your head.
Wow.
But back to the CBD. So there are children, and this has been proven, that have gone from like 12 seizures a day to 1 a week. Yeah. But they just labeled, they put CBD oil as a, a drug up there with heroin. Yeah. They just put it up there as a drug with heroin. Yeah. CBD oil. It doesn't even get you high.
Oh my gosh.
It doesn't even get you high.
Wow.
And they want to, so not only are you saying that people can't get high, and I understand if you want to make the argument about high, but medically, how are you going to go against that and say, well, you know what, we can't use it for recreational use and we can't use it for medically. So you want children to have seizures all day. That's what you're advocating when you say you shouldn't have CBD oil. You're saying you should let children have seizures all the time.
Taking money from Big Pharma, man.
Well, yes, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's exactly why they want that, Squid, is because they want you to buy those drugs that don't work. They want you to buy the synthetic drugs.
American government at its finest right there, Rob.
It's not a free market. It's just as like Noah Dyer said, it's a selective market we have.
It is.
You don't want marijuana legalized because you want them to decide what kind of marijuana you're going to get. And it's not even going to be marijuana. It's going to be synthetic drugs.
Yep.
There are people from Harvard that have said that marijuana, there's no plant on the face of the earth that has more medical properties or uses than marijuana. We haven't even broke down the uses, how you can make hemp. You can make biodiesel from marijuana. You can make, oh my God, you can make lotion. You can make so many products. In fact, why don't you pull that up, Squid? Let's see how many products you can make out of hemp alone. Let's get me that list so we can read that off to our listeners. Because I think that should be known, because so many people think, it's just for smoking. It's just for smoking. Did you know the Declaration of Independence is written on hemp paper and it's still barely turning yellow?
That is awesome.
Not many people know that. Of course they don't.
It's a hidden little gem that we just...
Many people don't even know that the tobacco industry right now, all the farmers that are growing tobacco, they're being hurt so bad by those companies with the big, the tumor-causing THC, the anti-tobacco. They're actually asking to grow hemp so they can make the money up from all the money they're losing. It just doesn't make sense, all your arguments against marijuana. They fall right through when you break them down.
Yeah.
It really does. There is no reason marijuana should be illegal in the state of Arizona. No reason. There's not one. I really want to know why so many people think Well, I already do know because your party said it.
Yeah.
But yet you're smoking it. That makes a lot of sense, and shame on you. I want to get the rest of your guys' opinion on this.
Well, first off, Rob, I mean, you've been pushing pretty hard here, and the only thing I gotta say about that is,
Actually, the same damn thing. You just body slammed me and broke my glasses.
I mean, seriously, Rob, you've just been like going pretty hard there on the marijuana, and to be honest with you, I totally agree with you on pretty much all the facts on that. I said earlier that I don't smoke and I don't drink and I don't do any of that. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to oppress somebody else's like right to do that. You know what I mean? And having marijuana being still illegal and for the masses in 2017 is ridiculous. It's just plain ridiculous. And we're trying to give these new articles and these new stories that they think that are basically, like, oh, the main three, which are what, oh, we can't have it because of the driving ability. We can't have it because they're lazy and they don't want to get a job, and we can't have it because it's addictive.
Of the children,
and the
poor children.
But we just said that more children are more susceptible to alcohol. They're more susceptible to caffeine.
Drugs.
They're more susceptible to another killer, which is sugar. Not saying that that's addictive, are you?
Are you talking about the obese epidemic? I mean, no. You can't abuse cheeseburgers, can you?
Yeah, that's tomato. Really? I think that's more. It's killing more people and more of addictive nature.
So you're saying we should outlaw cheeseburgers, right?
Why not?
What you're saying is
The body slam. Sick and tired of you guys. You just broke my glasses.
That's what you're saying. That is essentially what you're saying. Am I wrong there?
Listen, but am I wrong though? To be honest with you, if we're gonna make one stupid remark about one thing, why not about another thing? Oh, here's why: because people would be way up in arms on both ends.
So what I'm telling you, Steve.
Finish it off. Another body slam. Sick and tired of you guys. The last time you did the same thing.
That's what's going to happen to all you politicians that don't push for this bill coming up.
Oh my God!
No, but we do have a huge. Go ahead, Squid. We do have a huge bill coming up though right now that's going to be on the ballot in 2018. Hopefully.
Yeah. We do, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I did pull up that list.
Yes, pull up. Let's hear. What can hemp do for us, Squid?
This is 25 things that can be made with hemp.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
All right. So number one, we got fuel. We can make ink. We can make mulch, carpets, fiberboard, batteries. You can build batteries.
Batteries? I didn't even know that. Wow.
You can make makeup. You can do plastic products. You can make butter. You can do nail polish. Jeans. Surfboards can be made out of hemp. You can make milk.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that.
I wouldn't be
lotion.
surprised.
You can make lotion. You can make paper out of hemp. That one I knew. You can make diapers out of hemp.
Wow, I didn't know that one.
That's
Another
a cool
plastic
one.
material.
I mean, out of over 18 billion disposable diapers a year, I mean, hemp diapers would greatly diminish that. Come on now. We got flour. We have bags. We have animal food. That's interesting.
So what you're saying, Squid, is that we should just destroy hemp and marijuana entirely. That's what I'm hearing, right? With all that list.
I'm not even done yet.
Oh, he's not even done.
I'm not even done.
And this is just 25 reasons.
Yeah,
Not even like the most.
I'm up to number 20.
I can think of more, 25 more just off the top.
Go
I
ahead,
mean, we got canvas. We have paint and varnish. We have shampoo. We have tofu, for God's sakes. And we have sneakers. And lastly, we got chocolate. You can make chocolate out of hemp, people.
But you're saying we should destroy marijuana, right?
Of course. Apparently, because, hemp is just not going to do
It's not
it
useful. That's not useful enough, because it only takes oil to make all those things.
Right. Oh my
Exactly.
God. To make most of the plastics that we have. Well, you know, that's what. Who cares, right?
Exactly. I mean, well,
Logic, really? Are you really
No.
going to bring up logic in this discussion?
I know logic.
I guess logic doesn't make sense anymore for some people out here because it's all about the party lines when it comes to it.
Logic is
Logic's
that
not really
mystical unicorn that shoots rainbows from its butt.
I like that one. Let's go. That was a good one.
But I want to go into what you guys were saying. I am, or for our listeners out there, I am a marijuana smoker. I've been smoking. Or first time I ever smoked was when I was 21. I mean, I never smoked in high school. I know. I was a good student in high school. I didn't smoke weed. Oh my gosh. But, you know, out of everything that I've seen from marijuana, I mean, it's helped me with my severe back problems I've had. It's helped me with my inflamed muscles in my knees. There are so many great medical purposes with marijuana that we're not even reaching yet. I mean,
No.
It helps with...
Because we're gonna let China get there.
Yeah.
We're gonna let China get there. And, you know, make America first. Make America first.
Right.
Actually means make China great again.
Yeah.
Yeah. God.
You know, if someone were to give everything to Jeff Sessions, he would still try and get it, make sure it still stays illegal.
That's one of half the reasons I want Sessions gone.
Yeah.
Is because he lives in this 1950s fake 1940s fake reality where blacks should be segregated and marijuana is the devil's lettuce.
Devil and
So that is actually going to be the Minutemen for today, guys. You can find all of our old shows at theMinutemenWordPress.com. Thank you for joining us today. I am CT Rob with CT Steve.
Yes, thank you.
And the Squid.
We'll see you guys later.
And this has been the Minutemen. Minutemen out.